So, ESTAR, taking us to Battlefield of Eternity. They used to have a 100% win rate on this map. Unfortunately, without Toomey yesterday, they had a... Yes, that ratio was slightly ruined.
But even without Toomey, they managed to pull off a really good fight, and it was definitely not an easy-peasy lemon-squeezy run for SBT. They fought valiantly, and today with Toomey returning, I'm starting to get a little bit worried for HOTSLADY. However, their recent record on this map is pretty impressive as well. 4 wins and only 1 loss. This definitely seems to be a nice comeback map, or maybe even a good map to establish a 1-0 lead for the ladies here too.
Indeed. So as we enter into the draft, quick question for you. Which team banner are you most excited about obtaining for yourself? As for those who don't know, professional team banners shall be appearing in Heroes of the Storm, as found out by an AI match on the PTR.
Nice.
The only 2 that have so far been revealed are Mighty and CE, but we can assume that all HGC teams will get one. So
okay, so if it's just China, I would definitely go for CE, because I would really love this black logo. I would assume that the banner is black. I haven't actually looked at it myself.
I will send it to you later. The logo itself, the banner itself, is a sort of metallic grey, gunmetal grey.
Are the banner colors
like an Excalibur-style sword, with the logo itself being the exact same logo, black on their silver color on black.
So are the banners all in the same color and just the logo is different, or do they also have different colors?
Different. Mighty's, for example, is blue and black theme.
Well, if you put it that way, then I'm actually very excited about the Expert logo, because it's going to be flashy orange, black, and white, I think. So I would love me some Expert too.
Yeah, I would agree. Either way, I'm excited they're apparently going to be available via loot chests, and we can assume, hopefully, that they're going to be available via shard purchase.
You know, I've been wanting these HGC loot chests for a long time, with banners, sprays, maybe even mounts.
As long as they're available via shards. As much as I would love to be... Sorry, not shards. I would prefer them to be available via gems, and them do exactly what they do in... what they used to do with the mounts. And actually send some of the shards purchased back to the organization.
Yeah, exactly. Just basically help endorse your favorite teams or the esports scene as a whole by purchasing your most favorable objects using gems. I think that would be a fantastic idea to really support the favorite players and the organizations behind them. And it would also make it, you know, really attractive for other organizations to maybe set foot into Heroes of the Storm. For now, though, guys, enough about potential loot chests. I know we all want to open some. And let's move on over to China and the first draft of the day. Illidan Ben. Very interesting. Tetra, how important was Illidan yesterday during the Open Cup? He was about as important as he has been in the last 2 months or so. He's really good at his whole split push style. Gets value if you can play him right with the correct amount of protection. Can get some really good value. We also saw him earlier during HGC China with... he did lose against a Abathur Sonya comp. And as such, we do see an Abathur banned out earlier. Yeah, Abathur, not really a surprising ban anymore. With the rise of aggressive assassins like a Genji, like the Malthael, and the newly resurgent Illidan, he has become quite the strong enhancer of those heroes for sure. Now, we see the trademark Arthas on the side of HOTSLADY. That's going to be just right for Mr. Carlo to be played on. And already, this is a strong statement towards a potential Illidan play, because if you pick Arthas early, you're going to make it very risky for your opponents to still go for the Illidan all-in route.
Indeed, so the Illidan could be very dangerous for them, and that for starters, it's also an Ariel, so they need a hope generator with Valor already banned out, which was a consistent theme in the Open Division of Valor first bans, which me and Grubby personally found very confusing, but we're going to keep an eye on it and see how it progresses. But with Valor gone, we're limited down to heroes like Gul'dan, for example, which could be pretty decent, Gul'dan or Lunara, because they're going to have a little bit of an easier time working against Arthas.
And you can see how ESTAR is really thinking about their next pick. It takes them a long time, because as you said, Vala has been banned out, Grayman has been picked by HOTSLADY already, so in terms of raw auto-attack damage, there isn't really much left here, and they go for the Genji and the Sonya instead, delaying their pick for the main carry, the main ranged assassin, a little bit longer.
The main hope generator, because right now they, as much as their team is more likely to win, they don't have much hope right now.
Oh yeah.
Like, to be fair, they could go back to a very old-fashioned build for Ariel with the increased auto-attack hope generation. So Ariel plays a little bit more aggressive and generates her own hope, not solely relying on an ally to do so.
I think you would have to give up the level 7 talent on the heal cooldown reduction. And that's pretty huge.
But the cooldown reduction at this point, you can either heal for no... You can either heal more consistently for no healing, or you can heal less often for actually okay numbers.
True.
It's very much a... how much energy you think you're going to get. Like, Whirlwind in theory could go well, and they're against Greymane, Uther, and Arthur, so there's a lot of chance that you're going to be hitting multiple heroes, but you're against Uther, and Chinese Uthers are going to pick Hammer the Lightbringer, so that Whirlwind isn't going to last very long.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what is HOTSLADY going to pick here? They still need a second support if they want to go that path, but they go for a solo support Uther, and they go for even more poke with a Li Ming and a nice secondary frontliner. It's actually open whether Carlo is now going to play the Arthas or the Tyrael, because both of his most played heroes have been unlocked here.
Indeed, so we'll be... It's just he's quite comfortable on either. We don't even need to speculate, we'll just let that one happen. Whereas ESTAR, like we said, they already have one of their range in the form of Genji, not the best hope generator on his own. So we need someone who can generate all that hope.
Okay,
Lunara would be a standard choice here, but you're against a Tyrael, which is going to at least cancel out some of the AoE damage. Uther by himself would have a little bit of trouble.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I think it has to be either Lunara or Gul'dan if they really want to have a strong hope generator for that Oriole. I don't think they can afford to go double support with their team comp, because Genji is a sole range / melee assassin, doesn't really cut it. I would definitely not want to see it. It would also cripple their 4-man early game experience quite a bit. And they go for the Tychus with that fancy summer skin. I'm loving it. Tychus, though... I'm not sure if he's going to be enough for Oriole to generate a lot of hope from, because Tychus' damage is very burst heavy, right? You get the good minigun in, it's okay. The spray at level Q, his Q is a little bit low. It's a little bit unreliable because you're normally using it to wave clear. You're not using it to harass multiple heroes at the same time.
True. So, in theory, his AoE, if he went for a full Q build, for example, could be enough to be maybe generated by himself. I'm not sure. It's almost certainly going to be an Odin build for starters, and that does a monumental amount of AoE damage. That might be fine. It's not perfect, but it's manageable, and I think that's the idea here. They didn't want to go for Lunara for particular reasons, probably due to Tyrael and Uther being a bit too much for the poison damage to actually gain value. So Tychus gives them a little bit of a chance, better effectiveness against that double tank composition, while also still being a not good, but good enough hope generator.
Also, his single target DPS against the Immortal in the middle of the lane, in the middle of the map, is not to be underestimated. It's okay. It's not as strong as someone like Vala, Malthael. Wait, was Malthael banned? I would say so, right?
Yes, he was.
Okay. I was going to say. He's just too powerful on this map. By the way, guys, public service announcement, we're playing on the live patch, which means the Brightwing rework, all the other reworks that have been put on the Nexus in the recent past are live. We have seen a couple of Brightwing performances as a result, and Malthael is also allowed, and he put on quite a show yesterday already when he was allowed in the games he played in.
Yes, he was. He was pretty dominant. Exactly the same thing happened yesterday as well. During Open Division, he is just a consistently good hero, as we have found out.
There's very little you can actually screw up when playing as Malthael, right? It's not really hard to apply your poison to quite a lot of targets around you. The only thing you have to time is your cooldown and when you go in with your heroic ability and when to stay away. For now, though, guys, the first game is about to take place on Battlefield of Eternity between ESTAR and HOTSLADY. Alright, on the left-hand side, we see the new ESTAR roster. If you've been watching last week, those will all be familiar faces by now, because they've been looking good for the most part. To me, on the Anubarak, China #1 on Ariel, we have Good on his Tychus, Kid on Genji, and Ooze, last but not least, is going to be on the Sonya.
Whereas on the right-hand side, it is going to be HOTSLADY with Y on Li Ming, Pommy on Uther, Lias on Tyrael, Meng on Greymane, and Carlo playing the Arthas.
Now, what I want to see here, once again, I just can't forget about it ever since I saw it yesterday by a Melody C from SPT. I want to see that Genji take out the middle fountain again. I think it's such a sneaky, cheeky little play. And it really... Yeah?
Sorry, go on. Finish.
It's such a sneaky play as well to really deny your opponent's early healing during the Immortal phase. I would love to see it again. I think that could be really like a standard thing we want to see on this battleground in particular.
I would agree. This is very much a super perfect team special, and most teams seem to react to it fairly reasonably by just pushing the lane as hard as they can when it happens, which is a good way of dealing with it. But it's very much going to be players who are cleverer than us working out what gains more value. Killing that fountain, does that gain more value for the late game, or actually getting the push damage onto those towers?
Okay, I hope Good has had a good morning here, because he just took 3 magic missiles to the face without moving, and he also threw off a grenade to basically where no one else was standing. So maybe he still needs to adjust to this early first game of the day, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be fine as the game goes by. Now, both warriors on the side of HOTSLADY, Arthas, and the Tyrael are taking heavy damage. And the Sonya looks looking really, really good. Genji helping out here. Very, very important to manage, or to basically enable Sonya to have a good early game here. Really, really solid.
Really, really solid indeed. So, Li Ming very far forward. Very risky. Heal by Uther. The armor might be enough, but no. Genji coming in. Picking up first blood.
I'm not really sure if Li Ming was supposed to die here. She could have used the teleport a little bit earlier, maybe to... like, the moment you see a Nubrak dive onto you, you immediately have to pull the trigger on your teleport, because once he gets that bird charge stun in and he follows up with the impale, then it's going to be really easy for the opponents to focus you down. So maybe a slight misplay on the side of HOTSLADY, but Li Ming will be back relatively soon. For now, the red team is going to defend here as much as they can without taking too much damage until Li Ming is back, and she is right there.
The issue I would argue for Li Ming is he actually spent too much time near that bush.
Yeah, absolutely.
Waiting for, trying to be clever in terms of positioning, and instead gave herself less time to react to a Nubrak in the exact way that you said.
I would agree. Exactly, and now we see a very common strategy here. HOTSLADY is trying to defend their own Immortal as 4, while the Greymane is doing his work on the enemy Immortal. And ESTAR, they're not really fully committing as 5 here. They're actually trying to get Greymane out of harm's way as well, but they managed to take down Tyrael, and this is a 4 versus 5 now.
It is a 4 versus 5. They're turning it round. Carlo taking a lot of damage, but it is going to be Ariel who goes down first. Arthas has fallen too, though. Can Greymane survive? Pray and pray, trying to drop the damage. The mercenaries, it's actually going to be the Shaman who gets the final hit. That's a 3 for 1 in favor of ESTAR. Also, judging by Nubrak's name, this may still be a sub.
Yeah, it may be a sub after all, maybe just wearing the jersey today. Because, yeah. So Toomey apparently is still not with ESTAR. He's still not feeling as well as he should be in order to participate here. So all the best, all the blessings to him to hopefully get back on track soon. But HOTSLADY, they lost all of their really, really important assassins early on, so the damage simply wasn't there anymore. They killed Auriel, true, but on this map, on Battlefield of Eternity, if you trade an assassin for a support, I think that's actually the better trade for the team that killed the assassin, because you can just stall out so much longer without worrying about your own Immortal to go down. So really, really good trade for ESTAR here.
So ESTAR using that early Immortal to push in. This is, like we said, an early one, so it's going to be a little bit easier to kill. And as such, we are seeing Greymane trying to poke down Li Ming from range, but they're in danger. Once again, this is very early. They can't afford to be out of position to get themselves killed off again. It's already 5 kills to 1 as the fort becomes under pressure, and good zoning here coming in from Good.
Can we agree on the fact that we're just going to call our substitute player 10, because he seems to be player 10? So
in that case, for the sake of puns, can we call him Dillinger?
Okay, I'm down for it.
Sweet. The perfect 10 Dillinger moving in, trying to get his positioning onto Greymane, but Greymane trying to get away. Doesn't have disengage up yet. Does not need it. Razor Swipe able to get himself out of range, and disengages behind the wall, but he's now getting back to base.
Man, if you saw that push, by the way, if you paid close attention to a Nubrak, 2 of his beetles were actually intercepting every single spell that Li Ming directed towards her opponents in order to stop the Immortal from pushing, in order to zone them out a little bit, poke them back. So that is exactly the reason why Anubarak and Li Ming have this weird, ambiguous relationship where one counters the other. It's just that Anubarak, for the most part, counters Li Ming thanks to his beetles and the magic armor, and only after 10 will Li Ming have something to pay him back, you know, with that Disintegrate to pop the cocoon. But for now, it is definitely Anubarak's time to shine against Li Ming, and that was just so well played.
Couldn't agree more. And we actually have Anubarak not going for the extra charge range. Like you said, he is going for consistent beetles to block those attacks. It is really cool to see. Uther as well, not going for the extra wave clear because he's not going to be in lane for that much. Instead, going for the Holy Shock. So we have Hammer the Lightbringer, Holy Shock, and now Guardian of the Ancient Kings. Arthur's full
into the blind
builds.
Yeah,
kid, very unlucky there. But yeah, Carlo, full auto attack build, the extra attack speed on his Frozen Wastes, and Rune Tap.
Yeah, we see Rune Tap and Icy Talons and Tetra. That is a build you and Grubby were talking about during the European Open division as well. And as a rule of thumb, we can basically establish that whenever the enemy team is extremely low on threat potential, on crowd control to really stop you from auto-attacking, it's actually quite viable to go for this auto-attack heavy build that has an astounding amount of self-sustain.
You attack so quickly with this build if you can stay in range of someone. It's great against heavy melee compositions. Unfortunately, you're against Ariel and Tychus, who could zone you out quite badly if you're not careful. And as such, Carlo, you can see him getting knocked down, but he sustained quite nicely with Rune Tap, but still gets taken out. There is the first reset. Li Ming looking for more. Can't get in range. It's a 1-for-1 trade after this for Anubarak.
Yeah, that wasn't really all too shabby for HOTSLADY. They traded tank for tank. They're still nowhere near to fear about the level 10 for ESTAR, and as such, I think both teams are now going to try and just race the enemy teams Immortal as fast as they can. Both Arthas and Anubarak will be on their way very shortly, because Arthas got killed a little bit earlier and was on a lower level. He's going to be back a little bit sooner. Can that be enough to get out a nice advantage for the ladies here, though?
Kid trying to poke down onto Y, but Carlo has returned, looking for an opportunity to move in. But Tychus has already harassed Pommy and Lias too much for it to be worth it. In comes Dillinger trying to move in. They find Uther out of position. In comes Kid. The route is good. And Pommy trying to deny vision. Those beetles denying the denial of vision. But he is still able to escape as the chase is abandoned so that ESTAR can finish off the Immortal.
Did you see all that poke coming in from Genji, really causing everyone on the side of HOTSLADY to fall relatively low in HP? Li Ming, Uther, Tyrael, Granian, they were all falling rapidly because of that constant harass from the Shuriken, from the Swift Strike. And Uther, he normally struggles when it comes to keeping several people alive at the same time. That's why heroes like Gul'dan and Lunara are so good against him. And Genji in this very moment also proved to be such a menace that HOTSLADY eventually had to retreat if they didn't want to risk anyone losing anyone. So once again, another really strong Immortal pushing towards HOTSLADY, and this could get really, really dire for them.
The cocoon is down. Disintegrate not available yet. The stun isn't well timed, but it's still enough to take down Arthas. And nowhere near enough time to get that damage up. And this is the issue with this build. It's really good for long sustained fights. But if you're burst down, it does not give you the time to get that extra attack speed that gives you so much sustain from the Icy Talons.
Yeah, and of course there was no Disintegrate available just yet because HOTSLADY is nowhere near to get level 10 anytime soon until this Immortal push is over. So they had to basically watch Arthas die very miserably and very slowly here, and that might be the first keep of the game here, Tetra. No heroic abilities, the Odin is popped, they have so much fighting power. Even the Dragon Blade is still ready to be used if they really needed it, but they don't even have to pop it. They don't even have to use the Wrath or the Crystal Aegis. So a relatively relaxed and easy fight for ESTAR to take, and that is such an early heavy blow. It's going to be very hard for HOTSLADY to come back.
It really is. We see ESTAR pulling back, making sure that they don't throw away any kind of lead to HOTSLADY. They're doing what they can to make the comeback, though. It is the Judgment, the Divine Storm, Cursed Bullet. Arthas, though, he really needs to sustain. Oh, the Aegis preventing the Judgment, but Good still getting focused. Divine Storm, and Good is destroyed here. The Dragon Blade, though, in the backside, already destroying Uther, but it's Uther getting so much healing.
He keeps healing Meng.
Micro-Rick back into the Impalers. They're looking for Meng. They take him down. The Disintegrate onto a noob is not enough to finish him off. And Meng leaping to freedom. Carlo pulling back to the Impalers, murdering him, but Genji coming in for the kill.
Nicely done here. That fight looked very, very good for HOTSLADY in the beginning. And can you imagine if the Cursed Bullet had landed, if the Judgment had gone through to full value, like, Good would have died in the matter of a millisecond. So really, really good reflexes by support, by China #1 to protect him from all that. And even then, it was not enough to protect him, and Good ended up falling anyway. But for some miraculous reason, ESTAR managed to stabilize and still get 2 kills in return. But HOTSLADY, they just proved me wrong, and I love to be proven wrong in Heroes of the Storm, because that shows me that teams are really playing super well. They have what it takes to win those team fights, if only they just use their heroic abilities in good synchrony here. The Judgment, the Cursed Bullet, all those heroic abilities need to be able to be landed here in order to get something done.
Yeah, here comes Dillinger looking in. The cleanse used onto Meng. Sorry, the heal used onto him, keeping him alive so that he can keep Micro up. But the Cocoon on Poppy is popped quite quickly, getting him out of danger. A good disengage this time by HOTSLADY. They're not done though. Arthur's moving in. He does not have Army of the Dead available, so he doesn't have that extra regen. Icy Talon turned on, but he doesn't want to fully fight here. He's just trying to slow any kind of chase potential.
Once again, the Crystal Aegis was used to deny the Judgment value, and now Sonya, Odin, and Nubrek, they're all pushing in to take out Fort #2, keep #2, and look in China #1's healing. It is tremendous. The crown is now used on Odin and Genji in quick succession here to always make sure that you have enough damage done, and that is a sign of a good Oriel player. Don't just leave your crown on one target exclusively, adapt to the flow of the battle and use it on the target that is currently able to dish out most damage.
That Cursed Bullet, though. Poppy trying to divide Storm to buy his team some time. Greymane getting focused. Now the healing from is just enough to save him. Cocktail drops a little bit of poke damage, leaving Disintegrate, just zoning out Ooze. It does not pop the Cocoon, but popping the Cocoon would not have helped them there. They just needed to prevent their cells from dying so they have an opportunity to fight at the objective, due to the fact they have to spend some time clearing up these mercenaries now.
And that is going to be really rough. If there's a battleground where you don't want to lose both of your keeps early on, pre-15 minutes, it is Battlefield of Eternity, because once you have to defend against catapults constantly, you're losing so much presence in the middle of the battlefield, and that's of course where the Immortals are currently fighting each other. So HOTSLADY, they can only afford to stay in the middle so long, because as you can see, top lane is getting pushed in heavily, bottom lane is knocking at the frontier here already. They need to fight very fast.
Tommy very nearly doing his best Arthur's impression from that last fight and getting nuked down, but there was no Cursed Bullet for him this time. He was able to... sorry, no Cursed Bullet. He just wants to nuke. Here comes the Judgment, this time trying to get Kid, but Kid able to dash away. The Cocoon is dropped. They immediately turn around and they auto-attack it down. As Disintegrate is already gone, then don't have available for use. Trying to chase down and get those resets. Tigers a little bit too far forward as Arthur's is beginning to catch
looking
up.
good.
Gate, China #1 might be the target. No, it is Arthur's. Here comes the Aegis. Here comes a noob for complete delay. Genji getting the first reset, moving in with the Dragon Blade from
my!
Gets Lias, and that.
Oh,
there we go. Very nearly duped everyone, but absolutely brutal there. They lost a Nubarak, as we are calling him Dillinger, but Kid was able to get that one reset, and then it all snowballed from there. Very nicely done.
And that is kind of the crux here for HOTSLADY. They've been focusing other targets than Genji so well. They focused on Tychus. They even killed a Nubarek. But if you don't take care of the Genji, if you don't shut him down, Kid is going to take one life after the other, and he just did it so well. That was a wonderland for Genji. Really, a lot of low targets to use Swift Strike on, and of course the Dragon Blade helping out in that regard wonderfully, and that Thatcher is probably going to be the nail in the coffin unless HOTSLADY can pull off a miraculous defense. And in order to do that, they need to fight outside of their base. They need to take down members of ESTAR right here, right now, because they can let this Immortal get to their base.
They also can't spend too much time out here because of the catapults pushing top lane. Good Aegis again, denying the Judgment. Cocoon getting popped quickly, but it's once again Li Ming who is the first one to die. Genji doing so much damage to Meg in the backline, and Noob taking a lot of damage, but it's Greymane who is the target. Meg taken down. Carlo, no more sustain for you. The Divine Storm used far too late. Everyone was already dead, and that is GG. ESTAR moving on to the core, and they will take this game #1.
Genji absolutely dominating in that game, and once again shows the power of this hyper-mobile ranged assassin, melee assassin hybrid. If you don't shut him down, he's going to rend through your backline, taking out one member after the other, and GG to ESTAR. 1-0 is the current score, and that's exactly what they need if they don't want to lose track of CE and SPT, who both won their respective matches yesterday. But HOTSLADY, they're the masters of comeback, if you will. They still have what it takes to keep on fighting. They lost so many first games in the current history of HGC China. Can they do it again against ESTAR? I think so.
We can hope so, because this did not look like the HOTSLADY we saw yesterday, for example. The one that looked like they could do no wrong, that would take an advantage and then play so perfectly to not lose the map, but then would just make it would be the opponents who would just outplay them in general. But yeah, in this case, this match, they did not look like that team. They just looked like a team that was severely outclassed. This looked more like the CE match than it did the SPT match, for example.